Hey guys, nice to here back again to another movie review, and today we'll be reviewing Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, it's been, I think, a month since I've done a movie review, and I've just been very lazy, so I'll just be honest. I've just been very lazy, so that's why I haven't been doing any videos. But, let me see. But I know it's been a month since Spider-Man No Way Home came out, but I just want to quickly review Spider-Man Far From Home and No Way Home so I can then do other new reviews. Because the next movies I was planning on reviewing are the Scream movies, so stay tuned for that. I mean, no promises, but hopefully I'll get around to it. Because sometimes I do get a little busy with schoolwork too, but hopefully I'll get around to it because I really want to review the Scream movies. So yeah. So Spider-Man Far From Home. Okay, we won't get into the plot or the cast or anything like that because that just takes up too much time and my phone still has very little storage. So yeah. So Spider-Man No Way Home, do I like? I mean Far From Home. Spider-Man Far From Home, do I like it? Yes, I really like Spider-Man Far From Home. This one is, I would say, a fuck ton better than Spider-Man Homecoming. Because Spider-Man Homecoming, if you guys saw my review for that movie, you guys may know I am not a huge fan of it. I mean, I think it's okay, and there are some cool stuff in it, but there are a lot of bad stuff in it. So yeah, but I do find that movie to be very, very boring to sit through. But with this movie, it's the total opposite. Cause I find this movie a lot of fun. Like I find this movie a lot of fun to sit through. Cause yeah, it's really funny, and I love the whole summer feel to it. Like I love summer movies a lot, and summer's definitely my favorite holiday, easily. So yeah, uh, so yeah, I love the whole summer feel to it, and I just love the whole European feel to it. It's such a cool feel to it, cause I've always wanted to visit Europe, and I give a lot of respects to European. Like I really like Europeans a lot. So I've always wanted to visit Europe, and so with this whole feel to it, it's just amazing. So yeah, um, so with Spider-Man Far From Home, let me think. Let's get to the characters this movie. So let's start off with Peter. Now I like Peter a lot more in this movie than I did in Homecoming, because this is like right after Avengers Endgame, and it shows how he has to deal with Tony's death. But I feel like this movie treats Tony too much like if he's a god. Like they literally treat Tony like if he's a god in this movie. But I mean, I can kind of understand why, because he basically saved the world because Thanos was almost gonna destroy the whole world. So I can kind of understand it. So yeah, but I really like how this was a whole epilogue to Endgame, showing how we deal with Tony's death and all of that. So yeah, and this was basically a love letter to Tony, I would say, like definitely. And then I really like the whole storyline with Peter trying to fall in love with MJ. I just found that very cute. Like I can really relate to Peter a lot with that storyline, because that's basically me when I try to get with girls, like trying to like having a plan and like having a plan on what to say and all of that. So yeah, I can relate to Peter in that way. So yeah, that whole story was really cute, and then I really like the whole thing with him with trying to be a normal kid. Like he was just trying to be a normal kid with this school trip, and he didn't want to worry about anything. Like he just wanted to be on vacation and just be with his friends. He didn't want to like save the world or anything like that. Like he felt very for saving the world, but he had to though. So yeah, I really like the whole story too. And then I really like the whole Edith thing too. I prefer Edith a fuck ton more than Karen. I hated Karen, as you guys may know. I fucking hated Karen. But Edith, I liked her a lot more than Karen, because at least you see the point on how he has a voice in his head. Because this is Tony Stark's glasses. Like, he has his glasses, and that's really cool. How his glasses had a voice in too, named Edith. And Edith is in charge of the drones and all of that. I really liked Edith. Like, she was cool. And then I liked that whole scene in the bus where he made Brad a target, and he almost killed Brad, and then he destroyed the drone. That scene was funny, and then he punched Flash. That scene was funny. Uh, Let me think. Anything else I just say? So yeah, Peter was cool, and then I liked all the scenes with him in action, like him defeating the. If you guys haven't seen Spider-Man Far From Home, I forgot to say this review will contain spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, just leave this review, okay? But I'm pretty sure a lot of you have seen this movie. Oh, before I get more on with Peter, I just want to say something else. This movie came out on July of 2019, the summer of 2019. Wow, that was my favorite summer ever. I loved that summer so much. So much good memories with that summer. Every fucking week of that summer, a new movie would come out, and every fucking week I would go to the theaters. It was so fucking fun. And that was my favorite 4th of July ever, because Stranger Things Season 3 came out. And I didn't even see this movie a week later till after until a week later this movie came out, because then we had to visit my mom's old friend in prison that weekend that it came out. So we saw it the next weekend, and I really liked it a lot seeing it the next weekend. And yeah, so this movie, yeah, this movie has a lot of memories, so that's why I love it so much. Yeah. So with Peter, like I said, I like all the scenes with him in action where he's taking out all the hologram things, like the hologram elementals or something like that. I like all those scenes I like that scene a lot where he was taking down where he was trying to fight the water thing, but he couldn't, but Mysterio killed it. And I really like that scene with the fire thing in the festival. That scene was pretty cool. Uh, Let me think. And then all the scenes with him fighting Mysterio were really cool too. I love those scenes a lot where Mysterio is beating the shit out of Peter with the drones and all of that, and he beats him up with the illusion. And yeah, that whole illusion scene was really cool. Like, it really built a lot of tension. So yeah. Let me think. Anything else I should say? So yeah, Peter was really cool, and then I really liked his friendship with Ned too. How their friendship grows, because he still knows he's Spider-Man, and he's always like with him. Like, he's always like, if he changes if he makes the school change the plans, like he's always on with Peter, and he's always still on with Peter. Like, he's always helping him out with his plans, but he's not his guy in the chair anymore because he falls in love with the girl. Oh yeah, and I like that whole thing in the movie too. That whole thing was really funny where Ned falls in love with, what's her name, Betty. Yeah, Ned falls in love with Betty Brand. That whole subplot was really cute. Yeah, and it was really funny too. And then I like that part in the bus where where Peter was looking at their texts, and then they said miss you more, but they were right next to each other. Yeah, they were really funny. Let me think. So yeah, Peter was cool, and like I said, I liked Ned a lot in the movie. He was really funny, and then I really like MJ a lot. How she really likes Peter, but there's this other guy, Brad. Oh, that whole subplot was really funny too. How there was a little love triangle between Peter, Brad, and MJ, but it wasn't really a love triangle because MJ didn't really like Brad, but Brad liked MJ. That whole storyline was really funny, and how Brad would always flick off Peter and always try to make Peter look bad in front of MJ. So yeah, that whole subplot was really funny. But I really like how MJ really liked Peter. Like, she liked Peter too, and she was always following him and seeing where he was at, and she was always returning a compliment to him, and she even helped him out with the plan. I really like that whole thing where she found out that Peter was Spider-Man. She was helping him out with the Mysterio plan. And then they fall in love at the end. It was just a very cute relationship. Any other people I should talk about? Okay, then we got to Mysterio the villain. Now I gotta say, Mysterio was a cool villain, but he was just too snobby though. Like, most of Spider-Man's villains are bad, but they have a heart though. Like, they're villains with a heart. But Mysterio, he didn't even have a fucking heart at all. Like, he had no sympathy. He was literally a bad guy. Like, you can literally call Mysterio a bad fucking guy. He's literally a faker. He's a snob. He's so much of a bad guy. Yeah, so I would say Mysterio was a cool villain, but I didn't like how snobby he was, though, you know? But Mysterio was cool, don't get me wrong. I liked him a lot. And Jake Gyllenhaal portrayed him really good. Jake Gyllenhaal was a really cool actor. So yeah, and then I really like that whole plan. There's one flaw I have with it, like, what was Mysterio's, like, whole purpose of his plan? Like, I know he was trying to be a new Avenger, but even if he was a new Avenger, would they really, like, what's, like, there will always be a way that they'll find out that he's doing fake shit and all. But if he was a new Avenger, how would he even fight if it's just fake shit? And how would the Avengers even fight too if it's just holograms? So yeah, that whole thing with him wanting to be Avenger was kind of weird. But I would say I did like Vulture as a villain a little bit more than Mysterio, but Mysterio was still cool though. So yeah, Mysterio was cool. And then let me think. And then I liked Happy. I mean, I didn't love Happy, but he was okay. I mean, I can see why he was there. Happy was okay. He helped out Peter with making his suit and rescuing him and taking him to go rescue, like, kinda helping out to rescue his friends. So yeah. So yeah, Happy was okay. And then I didn't like that whole thing with Happy and Aunt May falling in love. I thought that was kind of weird. You could have just easily taken that thing out. Like there were too many. Like from then on, like you can just see it's too many love stories right there. You could have just easily taken that out. So yeah. So yeah, I do have a little bit of flaws with this movie, but I do like the soundtrack to this movie. The soundtrack to this movie was amazing. I love the soundtrack a lot. Such a cool beat to listen to. Far better than Spider-Man Homecoming soundtrack. At least they don't give us that annoying Spider-Man soundtrack from the first movie back again a lot of times. But I mean, they do bring it back, but it sounds a bit better though. I would say it does sound kind of better. Um, Anything else I should say? Let me think. Any other things I should say? Excuse me. So, oh yeah, and I forgot to talk about Nick Fury. Nick Fury in this movie. Nick Fury was cool in this movie. But I didn't like that whole end credits. How Nick Fury was a Skrull. That kind of ruined the whole purpose of the movie. Of Nick Fury wanting to have Spider-Man save the world. But I didn't like how Nick Fury was being so mean in this movie. He was so mean to Parker. Like, you got gifts, Parker, but if you don't want to be here, that's kind of wrong. Like, you got gifts, but you don't want to be here. Just don't be here. And he was just kind of being a little rude. And he even kidnapped Peter too at one point. So yeah, Nick Fury was a little rude in this movie, but he was okay though. Um, Anything else I should say about Spider-Man Far From Home? So yeah, the end battle was cool with fighting the drones and all of that, and Peter really got his ass kicked in that scene, and Mysterio didn't even touch him, and he kicked his ass. Yeah, and then everyone knows the whole end credit scene. Spider-Man is Peter Parker. Like Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker. Yeah, that end credits was very shocking when I first saw it, and J. Jonah Jameson showed up too. Like I was very excited about that. So yeah. Uh, Anything else I should say about this movie? Let me think. Oh yeah, and then another flaw I have with this movie is the whole Netherlands scene in the movie. Like that whole scene just happened so fucking quick, and he lost his night monkey suit. Like that whole scene just was there, and then boom, it happened. It just happened so fucking quick. So yeah, that whole Netherlands scene was another flaw I had with this movie. Let me think. Anything else I should say? I think that's all I should say about this movie. So, yeah, this movie was great. So to rate this movie, I'll rate it an A minus. Yeah. Bye and see you all in the next review.